Today, we're going to talk about one of football's greatest and most forgotten legends. We're going to pull back the curtain on the incredible story of a man whose records still stand to this day, but whose name has somehow been lost to time for so many of us.
All right, let's just dive right into this with a bit of a mystery. You know, when you think about Argentine football, it's just overflowing with legends, right? But the guy who holds the biggest record of all, well, he's probably not who you think.
So, let me ask you, who is the all-time leading goal scorer in the history of the Argentine League? Who pops into your head? Messi, maybe? The one and only Maradona? Or maybe a goal machine like Gabriel Batistuta?
Look, if you guessed any of those guys, you're not alone. But you'd be wrong. The real answer is a total surprise, and it opens up this amazing piece of football history that most people just don't know about.
And there he is. The man at the very top of that list is Arsenio Erico. But here's the real kicker. He wasn't even from Argentina. He was Paraguayan.
And this right here, this is the magic number, 295. That is how many goals Erico banged in for his club, Independiente, in Argentina's top division. Think about that. It's a record that's been standing for over 70 years. So how on earth did a kid from Paraguay end up becoming the undisputed king of goals in Argentina?
I mean, his whole origin story, it's like something out of a movie. He wasn't found in some fancy youth academy or anything like that. No, he was discovered because of a war.
So get this, Erico's just a teenager when this brutal war, the Chaco War, breaks out between Paraguay and Bolivia. He was too young to go fight, so instead he joins this Paraguayan Red Cross football team. And what were they doing? They were touring Argentina, playing games to raise money for the war effort. And it was on that tour that his insane talent just lit up the field. I mean, scouts couldn't believe their eyes. He was so good that two of the biggest clubs in Argentina, River Plate and Independiente, got into this huge bidding war for him. In the end, Independiente got their man, and honestly, football history was never the same.
So when he gets to Independiente, he doesn't just, settle in. He absolutely explodes. He becomes a complete phenomenon, and they start calling him El Saltarín Rojo, the red jumper, all because of his unbelievable ability to just hang in the air.
But what's truly mind-blowing is just how consistent he was. Just look at these stats. 3 years in a row, he's the league's top scorer. And that season in 1937, 47 goals. Let me say that again. 47 goals. That is still the all-time record for a single top-flight season in Argentina. He wasn't just good, he was on a whole other planet.
And here's the thing, he wasn't just a guy who tapped in goals, he was a true innovator. You know that crazy scorpion kick? Yeah, the one René Higuita made famous in the 90s? Well, get this. Erico was doing it 60 years before that. There are records of him pulling off that insane move all the way back in 1934. He was an artist, plain and simple.
You can really get a sense of the kind of impact he had by just looking at all the nicknames they gave him. It's like the fans and the press were just scrambling for words to describe what they were seeing. The Rubber Man for his crazy flexibility, the King of the Goal for his deadly finishing, and my favorite, just Virtuoso. It says it all, doesn't it?
But, the numbers and the nicknames, they only tell you so much. The man behind the myth, his character, that was just as legendary as his goal scoring. I mean, the other players from that era were just in complete awe of him. Listen to this from another Argentine legend, Francisco Varallo. He talks about his impossible skill, especially how he'd just leap over everyone to score with his head. But then he adds this crucial part. He wasn't just the best player. He was also a complete gentleman. That says so much about him.
And maybe the ultimate stamp of approval comes from Alfredo Di Stefano himself. I mean, we're talking about one of the most important players in the history of the sport. And Di Stefano said that Erico was his idol. He called him a great artist. Wow. When a legend calls you his idol, you know you're in a league of your own.
And this next story, I think this really tells you everything you need to know about the man. Right before the 1938 World Cup, Argentina comes to him with a massive offer. A fortune, they said. All he had to do was switch his citizenship and play for them. He was at the absolute peak of his game. This was his chance to be a global superstar on the world's biggest stage. And what did he do? He said no. He turned it all down. He stayed loyal to his home country, Paraguay. He chose pride over fame and money.
So, even as his playing days came to an end, his story was, well, it was far from over. The way his life ended and the legacy he left behind, that's what would truly cement his place as an immortal legend in not one, but 2 different countries.
Erico passed away from a heart attack back in 1977.
And the very next day, his beloved club, Independiente, had a game. You can only imagine the atmosphere in that stadium. Then, decades later, in 2010, his home country Paraguay did something really special. They brought him home. His remains were moved from Argentina and laid to rest in a special mausoleum right inside Paraguay's national stadium, a final, beautiful tribute.
And on that day, the day after he died, the entire stadium erupted in a chant, se siente, Erico está presente. It means, we feel it, Erico is with us. Even after he was gone, his presence was just that powerful for the fans who loved him. It still gives me goosebumps.
And today, his name is literally part of the stadiums. His very first club in Paraguay, their stadium is named after him. A stand in Paraguay's national stadium, named after him. And the main stand at Independiente's stadium, you guessed it, it bears his name too. He's a permanent part of the football landscape in both of the countries he called home.
So, the story of Arsenio Erico, it's just this incredible reminder that football's history is so much deeper than just the famous names we all know. There are these unbelievable figures who, for whatever reason, don't always get the spotlight they so clearly deserve. It really makes you wonder, right? How many other amazing stories like his are just out there waiting to be told?